time for another edition of Simply Stated. I'm at the beach today in Michigan. I'm going to show you my outfit this morning. See? I love Michigan for the shopping here. One thing about doing my own show and work up here and independent projects is that there's a lot of really inexpensive, fun places to buy clothes, whether it's at like thrift stores or, just in general, the shopping is just really excellent here. So, but I'm at the beach this morning in Michigan, and interestingly, this morning a friend reached out that I knew in the DC area who works at Microsoft and said he thought I should make my own um, survival guide. And he meant more on being an entrepreneur and independent projects. But I think for me, it would be more like a survival guide, especially with what's been going on. And we need to get into some heavier topics this morning because we have a serious problem right now with the actual investigation and prosecution of Christopher Wray by Congress. And we need to get into the reality that he is an open, abject member of the K.G.B. It's called the F.B.I. of Russia, that he runs into witnesses and victims today and makes fun of them, even up here in Michigan, and talks about he's in the F.B.I. It's his dumb little joke he thinks is really funny because of how stupid they all act on purpose all the time as part of their criminal activities. And what I want to get into is, why is the U.S. government putting up with an organization that's really no different than the KKK, trying to pretend like they're advisors on national security? And that he was out last summer partying, dressed up under his alias Pitbull, performing, hanging out with the woman I named Karen, who actually finally got punched in the face and quit performing. Why are we putting up with him at all? And why are we not talking about the fact that he's an open rapist of women? He openly raped and tortured my mother, that he's a sexual abuser of children. And I don't mean sexual like pleasure. I mean that he actually openly advocates for abusing children's reproductive organs. And that there is no excuse for that. And, talk about the fact that he's openly attacked actual assets and witnesses, whether it's for the CIA or other agencies, outside of those for Booz Allen Hamilton, who he has a direct relationship to, Booz Allen Hamilton being a company that strictly works for Russia and China. And there's the fact that he set up the fake front group Endeavor WME back in the 80s, that he openly hangs out with Cersei and Wilhelm today, the couple I nicknamed that. And that if it had been up to him, I never would have gotten a protective order and gotten away from them. I would have been labor trafficked for the rest of my life. Let's talk about this. Okay, we need to have a real discussion, because I'm really tired of him being free. He's been up in Michigan. He spent all of last summer and last year harassing and attacking witnesses and victims. 1,000 people died in Hawaii. He had more than enough advance information to have stopped those attacks. He didn't do it. Okay? He actually got arrested. He was on a private property that I was staying on last year and started punching the door and freaking out, and ended up finally getting himself actually arrested, at least temporarily, and put in jail for a while. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the fact that under his alias Jason, his do anything, say anything badass, that he actually got himself put in jail here in Michigan. That Freddie Klein would still be free, who openly attacked the U.S. Capitol, if it had been up to him. That the state of Michigan actually got Freddie put away. That a bunch of random U.S. citizens who actually care to do something right got that guy finally put away in a federal prison up in New Jersey. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it, because the questioning I'm seeing of Chris is him getting made fun of by Senator Hawley and some of the other men, and talking about how he thinks he runs a law enforcement organization that's supposed to be the most powerful in the world. And it's obviously there's a bunch of dumb dorks who like to beat up kids, and who think they have the right to torture kids, and who can't understand when some of their victims grow up that they don't care anymore about how they feel or what they think or say, and that none of us have to work for them for free, that they don't have the right to labor traffic people for some stupid gang here in the U.S., that J-Lo is a pervert who went to Luther College and had multiple people raped, that she is a murderer and a prolific abuser of children, and all her material is stolen, and that what is happening to her at this point might still be considered nice and just be considered dogging, that it's actually really time for her to go to prison. And it's time for Chris to go to prison too. He lives under the alias Jason, also under Terry. He's living under another one now up here in Michigan instead of doing his job. That there will probably be another terrorist attack, and that he will once again fail to do his job, which is supposed to be counterterrorism for the U.S., because he openly supports the K.G.B, now called the F.B.I. of Russia. And that none of us have anything to do with that man. because he has no sense of common decency. And then, since all the questioning has mostly been to make fun of him for being a disgusting loser, and the term loser really is, you can use it as much as you want. You don't have to be nice to people who are disgusting to kids and to other people and to your mom. Okay, I will never forget the rape and torture and abuse of my mother, who was a good woman that he simply just wanted to work for free for his Hollywood friend groups, for his stupid K.G.B friends. Because that's what happened to her. She was trafficked. She was labor trafficked by them to death. That she openly reported on them setting up 9/11. And he had her murdered. That some people actually think that he was her murderer in Florida. That he has openly dressed up and pretended to be George W. Bush. That he openly defecates in public. And by that I mean takes poops, shits in public. That he was actually arrested again this past week up here in Michigan for taking a dump in public last Saturday. That he is really not welcome at all anywhere. Beyonce, one of the people he protects who openly works for Iran and also for the Russian FSB, the old K.G.B, is now trying to dump her husband. And you know what? I'm going to go out there and say this. I think Jay-Z probably actually is right that she's a bigger villain than he is. She got all her material through Buffalo Bill. She had me trafficked. She was directly responsible for those 2 women who were missing arms and legs and were on life support down in Charlottesville that I saw. She's another one with Taylor Swift that worked with Buffalo Bill. And J-Lo. They all work with Buffalo Bill, who works directly for the FSB of Russia, and for Chris. That's it. You got a bunch of dumb, disgusting perverts who abuse little kids and kill people and violently torture women to death, and men if they can. That the man that I spoke of in the past, who was a counterterrorism agent and a very attractive man, was murdered by them. Probably just for being more attractive than Chris. And that I don't have time for a government or a country that wants to pretend like it's a big deal for anyone to even say this. Because there's no big deal about it. He has been getting, what, is he being prosecuted or just in hearings for the last year trying to explain why he's a dork? Why he was out partying while Hawaii burned. That he had advanced information to the couple I nicknamed Cersei and Wilhelm over 10 years ago on the attacks in Hawaii. And that he went ahead and let those happen and was probably just mad, as far as I know from my basic conversation with him over this past winter, that the U.S. government intervened and didn't simply let his dumb crony friends from the K.G.B simply suck up all the land from those 1,000 people who were killed. Because that's the actual question that needs to go on. That he is engaged in overt harassment of witnesses and victims, and that today he's now after the Catholic Church for money, and that he's an open supporter of the Opus Dei because they torture people and they're not really considered to be part of the Catholic Church. Or we could talk about the fake friend group, the Peace USA, that he's a part of. We can talk about all of the groups that he supports that are related to the Jews or Islam or any other group that he's a part of that he only supports because they torture people and believe in cannibalism, which he does. And vampirism, basically. I have no use for the man, and I have no use for his life, and my government is not sufficiently prosecuting him, because we will have prosecuted him and put him through it properly when you openly discuss the fact that he is openly engaged in attacking U.S. citizens who didn't support Russia and China and supported the only nasty elements of those countries. That he didn't support people leaving behind the CCP or the K.G.B of Russia. That's the reality. Now, for this, I'm actually going to go ahead and perform my diss track that I think is really fun. And, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put this over here so it's easier for me to perform. Let's see. I think you can probably hear me, but I'm going to be up here like this. And I want to note that I also got it out of him that he had overtly suppressed the plays on my album online. So that means he went after an English company. By the way, the English do not believe or think of him as being a part of MI5, even though he tried to pretend that he was, simply because he found out people were heading in that direction and that they were turning more to Interpol and MI6 because of his drug trafficking for the K.G.B. And let's be really clear on all of this. Ben Affleck has probably done everyone a favor in helping to set J-Lo up some, but it's pretty obvious that he didn't really want to stay around to watch her actually die. And that's kind of all there is to say about that situation, because she's not headed anywhere good, and it's starting to look really gross. as they take off more for photoshopping. And I think they've even taken away some of her masks and everything that Chris had made for her. So, because she was wearing one that made off of my face for a really long time. It was really scary. But, anyways, can't sing, can't dance, no talent, no talent, no talent at all. But you want to be a big performer. Ooh, you want a dance song. Ooh, you want a dance song. Ooh, you want a dance song. You want a song? Then sing it. You want a song? Then write it yourself. Now dance to this. Grow up, girl, no style of your own. You don't have a thing to wear, no songs of your own to sing, like you had any talent at all or life experience. Please. This is the remix. This is the reality check. Back up, back off, back up, back off. Real artists have rights, real artists have value. Real artists have rights, real artists have value. Get a real job when you can actually work at. If you can, get a life, get real. The rest of us have had it with you. Back up, back off, back up, back off. Wake up, wake up. Real artists have rights, real artists have value. Real artists have rights, real artists have value. Ooh. Now, girl, see that windshield? Now wash it. See that floor? Now scrub it. See that job? Now do it if you can. Fold your own laundry, girl. Time to get a real job. Get a real skill if you can. This is the reality check. This is the remix. Back up, back off, back up, back off, back up, back off. You want a song? Then write it yourself. Can you sing it yourself? No, then shut up. Can you do it yourself? No, then shut up. Can you dance it yourself? No, then shut up. Move it, girl. This is the remix. Real artists have rights, real artists have value. Wake up. Wake up. Real artists have rights, real artists have value. Ooh, you want a dance song. Ooh, you want a dance song. Well, dance to this. Ooh, you want a dance song. Shut up. No one cares. And this has been Simply Stated. Bye-bye.